All right.
You're
ready?
okay with this, right?
Huh?
You're okay with this?
Yeah.
Do you know what this
good.
is?
No, your documentary?
The docuseries, yeah. So there's a good chance you might be in this one.
It's awesome.
Don't worry, I'll make sure they remove your face. I'm teasing.
We're at Pax8 Beyond.
We are.
I'm here with Rob Rae, and Rob, first of all, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to see you.
Appreciate it. And Rob is Corporate Vice President and also Community Ecosystems. Every time I see you, your title gets longer and longer. So
it has changed. It's changed since you and I last talked. It is now Corporate Vice President of Communities and Partner Experience.
Okay, congrats.
Yes, thank you.
And so for the partners, everybody knows Rob, but for the ones who don't, kind of share on a brief level, what does that title mean for partners that want to engage Pax8? What does it mean to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your role.
So the community aspect of my role, which is headed up by Eric Torres, that is the engagement that we do with the actual MSP. So it is, the way I like to describe it is that I'm kind of the face of Pax8. Myself and my team, of course, I got Eric and Ola, and we go out and represent Pax8, everything that we're working on, updating the community on all the stuff that we are doing, investing in, growing, developing, innovating, that kind of stuff. So it's delivering the Pax8 message, and then also kind of being the face of it, so that you kind of bring that human element to large vendors, right? Which is super important. You know, I feel like I can talk to somebody. I feel like I know somebody I can call if things are falling apart. You know, that kind of stuff. The other aspect of that is being the voice of the MSP internally. So MSPs, obviously, like we have partner advisory councils and all those types of things, ways of gathering feedback from our actual partners, but a lot of it comes through interaction. And because myself and my team, we get the opportunity to travel around the world, it's a great opportunity for us to gather that information, keep a pulse of what's going on, not just with a single MSP or even a single community of MSPs, but the entire world of MSPs. So it helps us kind of formulate, plan, grow, develop, and then at the same time, if we want to make a change, we want to do something within Pax8, we want to implement something, a program, we find out whether, they usually come to me first or come to my team first and say, is this something that MSPs would care about? The partner experience part of my job, see, it's a fairly robust job.
I can tell.
The partner experience is new. These are the programs that actually go and support those things. So our Voyager Alliance program, which is our partner program, we're working on a rewards program right now. It would be the Partner Advisory Council. It is a program that we have called Guided Growth, which kind of benchmarks where MSPs are in their journey, say for things like cybersecurity or AI, and then we can recommend training and education and tools even around that. So it's a lot of different programs that are helping partners continue their journey.
So this is exactly why we're talking today. Our topic. We're going to talk about how MSPs, what is the guiding light of what makes other MSPs successful. And because you talk to so many MSPs worldwide, it's interesting. If they want to know financially how they're doing, they can go to Service Leadership as an example.
Absolutely.
And they'll tell them best in class.
Yes.
But on the business side, there's not too many people in the channel that really have a good heartbeat on so many partners to get an idea of sharing back to those partners what makes key partners so successful.
Yeah.
What are the qualities? What are the ingredients?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be exactly 5, but let's shoot for 5.
Sure. Okay, so fortunately, I actually said this just in my last interview there, and I think it might be true. I think I talked to more MSPs than anyone else in the industry, especially from a global perspective. So what are 5 things? I think that the relationship that and I found this, like the relationship that the vendor has with the MSP is critical, and that's where the community aspect that I talked about before. I think that the relationship that a MSP has with its ultimate end users is also a critical one. And I think the MSPs that I find that are the strongest are the ones that have that level of relationship with their end user. that, and if you take a look kind of where growth in our space comes from, if an MSP wants to grow their businesses, I think it's something, GTIA came out with some data recently that said, I think it's 72% of all leads generated by MSPs are word of mouth. That comes from happy clients. And if that's the case, if we're not going to run marketing campaigns or sales campaigns or call campaigns and stuff, it has to be the word of mouth. And I find that a lot of small business, that's generally how it works. So that relationship, I think the strength of that relationship is critical. So that's kind of setting up proper processes, things, a methodology, and actually detailed, outlined, and rinse and repeat kind of process is critical. You see larger organizations do that. It is something that's well documented, well followed. Everything goes along those lines. It's the only way to kind of maintain control and not have any chaos. I'll use Pax8 as an example for this because we're growing like crazy. We're financially doing very well. And then these projects come up, these ideas come up because that's the space that we're in. It's constantly trying to find ideas and new things. So we found that we were running probably about 1,000 different projects. Somebody came up with a great idea. Great, here's some money and some resources to go and do it. And it's not scalable. And it's you have these hundreds of projects, but nothing's ever actually getting done, or it's not implemented properly because you have too much to actually do that. So we kind of streamline that and we categorize all these different projects into here's a bucket of this is essential, do this now. Everything else is a let's talk about it later kind of thing. So defining that process is critical. Security first. We live in that world now where cybersecurity is probably the most critical part. I think small businesses, and you probably have seen this as well, but small businesses were not necessarily outsourcing IT. You could go to something like Geek Squad or something like just, use the internet to see how I can reboot my computer, just like simple things like that. Cybersecurity game changed all of that. And I think that is part of the reason why we've seen significant growth in the SMB space, in the MSP space, and why all MSPs that I talk to are growing is because SMBs are growing and SMBs are outsourcing more than ever before because that cybersecurity isn't just for corporate anymore. Great example of this, my wife runs a small interior design business in Connecticut. She's got 3-4 employees. She's doing fairly well. She's been in business now for 6 years, and she's like, I don't need an MSP. I just have 4 laptops and a couple of TVs, some Wi-Fi, and she started pricing out MSPs when she first started this because I don't want her to do her IT, and she's like, that's not worth it. I'm not going to pay that. Fun story, if I can sidetrack for a sec. I did call an MSP that I actually helped out quite a bit. It's a guy that we both know. I helped him out with his business back in the early days. He was break fix. We went to recurring revenue. He built that business because he was turning 50 and really worried about his exit strategy. So what happens is he says, I'm doing all this. I got these one-time contracts. I'm worried that I'm not going to have any money when I retire. And this is why the recurring revenue thing for him was so interesting at the beginning of the MSP journey. He grew that business, got the recurring revenue done, solid client, grow the business, and sold it to his engineers, and is super happy retired. So he still sits on the board. My wife needs an MSP. Who are you going to call? You're going to call your buddy that lives in the same town, who built his MSP, who gives you credit for helping him build his MSP, friends and family program. So I call him up and I say, hey, my wife needs an MSP. And he's like, it's $1,000 a month minimum. And I'm like, well, she doesn't need $1,000 worth of work. And he's like, no, that's my minimum. I can't go under $1,000 a month. I'm like, dude, we're friends. I helped you build your business. He goes, that's what you taught me, right? Was do not take business that is less than that, because then you end up with all these little house accounts that you don't really want to do because you're too busy doing favors for everybody. I'm like, that's fair. I still don't like it, but that's fair. Anyway, you fast forward, and now, when it comes to the security first, now her small business, she actually stays up at night worrying about losing data, about losing.
It's real.
It is absolutely real, and because it's in the SMB, it's now into the MSP, and cybersecurity has been a significant win for our space. It's going to continue that way, especially now as we venture into AI and all these types of things. So definitely security first would be number 3. Are we on number 3?
That's number 3. How about a 4?
4 would be, I think it's the business acumen, right? It is the soft skills that go around an MSP. You think about why we all got into business. We got into business because we like tech, or we were really good at fixing computers when we were kids, or we're not intimidated by the technology aspect of it, maybe fascinated by it. And because we have those skills, we have the ability to go and do that. So you set up a business, or you start making some money, and then all of a sudden you got more business, you hire people, you hire more people, you hire more people, and now the business is growing. Now we see a lot of M&A in our space, maybe we acquire a business. Now you have to have all those soft skills. HR, finance, legal, all those things that we are not good at. It's like turning around to an end user who is great at manufacturing and not good at IT. You outsource that to us. It's the same thing that MSPs are looking at doing. And I think there's a certain point and a certain maturity level where you have to have those business acumen pieces attached, where you have to get that stuff organized.
And if we can squeeze it out, we'll do one last one. We can do number 5, if you can come up with what that is.
I had it, Dave.
I
was saving it for last.
You're going to have to say AI, that, don't you?
If you want to make it a technology thing, we can say AI.
But we don't have to.
No, let's not say AI. Let's do this. Let's say a keen interest in what's next.
I like that.
Okay. A forward-thinking attitude towards an open-mindedness. Human beings traditionally are, I don't want to say lazy, but we're stuck in our ways. We resist change.
Very much
everything
so.
that we do in our life.
Even tech people.
Yes,
and that's why
absolutely.
they got into tech, because they like change.
Absolutely.
But not when it comes to their own business.
Absolutely. And we see this all the time, where somebody picked a tool that at the time was the right tool, but they've either outgrown the tool, or that company is just not treating them properly, and it's just too hard to change, or I don't want to go through the process of vetting out new technology. And on top of that, it's like innovation, right? Innovation is constantly happening in our space. Jay McBain had a great closing slide yesterday in his keynote, and if I can reference that, he talks about how the internet changed our game, right? And if it was 1981, and you could talk to Bill Gates. If you could talk to Bill Gates about the internet, what would you say? And you would probably have made a ton of money as a result. When the cloud first came out, 2002, if you could go and talk to Azure and AWS, what would you say? And for us, it's like these big moments. AI is one of those moments right now. We're at that moment where you're talking to Bill Gates in 1981, right? And this is the massive opportunity I think that we have. So the idea that we have to be open-minded with AI specifically and lean into it now, as opposed to resist it or wait until somebody gives you a plug-and-play tool that you can go and sell, or Microsoft creates a SKU for a level 1 tech. Like, if we wait for those things, we may be too late, right? Or miss the opportunity to really capitalize on that.
And I love the fact that it's an open playing field. So, meaning right now, anyone that wants to venture, that wants to dive in, they can. There's not really a barrier to entry. So even the smaller guy could be competitive against the larger guy.
Now, just to finish that thought off, though, like, we're getting old. Let's be honest. You look great.
We're not as pretty as we used to be.
You look great, but we're getting old, and AI is going to change everything. We know it's going to change everything. We can see that it's going to change everything. Can we just wait a couple of years until I retire so I don't have to change? That's the thing I hear from some of the older MSPs. Is like,
but they said the same thing about cloud.
Yes, they did.
And they said the same thing before that about security.
Yes, they did. But the average age of a MSP business owner is in the 50s. I want to say it's in the mid to high 50s.
Yeah.
Now, great part about it, and I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, but at this particular conference, there is a lot more younger people that are coming into this space. And I think that's because we're no longer opening boxes and fixing them. It's more along the lines of this is like a viable entrepreneurial thing that you can do. So
I think the whole software as a service cloud component also enabled a lot of that, because back to your point, it's not a screwdriver job anymore.
Yeah. GTIA, again, did a industry report on next generation as far as what they are going to be like as far as employees go. And what they found was that there is this group of people that are entering the workforce that are not intimidated by technology. And you remember before, it's like, I don't know how to code, I don't want to work in tech. or I don't know how to fix a computer or swap a video card, so I don't want to work in tech. It's not like that. These people are not intimidated by technology because they all had it since they were like little.
Now it's your staff of 10.
Right.
Typing on some
Have
cloud.
you ever given a baby an iPad? Like, they're not intimidated by it. They lean into it. So that intimidation is gone. On top of that, the problem that we have is they don't care about how it works. They don't want to open up their iPhone and see how it works. Like, that is gone. Everything is disposable. And I think that's a combination. So in the hardware space, everything's going to be completely commoditized,
It's
disposable.
consumption and its results.
It is, and that's it. And then on the software space, this is where you get a lot of the innovation and a lot of the ideas and the open-mindedness. Because of that, I'm not intimidated by this stuff, therefore I'm going to lean into it. And I think that's why AI is going to continue to be a game changer as well.
Rob, great thought leadership. Appreciate the time.
Of course, as always, my friend. Thank you.